the Trojan Hour on WIDU 1600 AM, 99.7 FM. My name is Gianni Taduri, and I am your host for the day. I am a game development student at Ftcc. Today we're talking to Dr. Margaret Morley. She is the interim director for disability support services. She has over 30 years of experience in the area of disability support and holds a degree in psychology. Welcome, Dr. Morley. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. I hope so you're doing fine as well.
I am doing so as well. You will be covering 3 areas of what you do on campus. What are those 3 things you'll be
I
talking
actually
about?
only do one area, and that is
Oh.
disability support. However, disability support is housed under what we call support services.
Mhm.
That is our umbrella area. And under that, you have disability support services, the YES program, and wellness services and collegiate recovery.
Okay, then let's start with disability support. What is the purpose of disability support?
Our main our main purpose is to provide accommodations or supports to students with disabilities to make sure that they have the same access or as close to as a student without a disability.
Who would you say is eligible for such services on campus, or just students in general?
Any student at FAY will take with a documented disability.
Why would you say some of these accommodations are important for students to have access to?
Because some disabilities can hinder a student to be effective in completing their coursework. So if we can go ahead and put a support in place to kind of even out the playing field so that they can effectively complete their course, then that's what we do. And the accommodations are tailored to the student as well as to the program that the student is attending.
Would application of any of the supports negatively affect the student?
If somebody applies with us for accommodations or supports, it does not negatively affect the student. It's a positive thing. Because if you don't have the attention span to sit for 3 hours and you need to have a break in between, it is better to ask for it than to sit there fidget and not pay attention. Or if you cannot focus long enough to go ahead and sit through an entire lecture, it's a benefit for you, my apologies,
You're fine.
for you to come and see us with the proper documentation, of course, and see what we can do regarding transcription apps to kind of take down the lecture for you.
On the topic of documentation, what kind of documentation would someone need to apply?
Okay, it's very easy to state what we don't use, and we don't use IEPs.
Okay.
However, we need to have documentation that states what the disability is and how it potentially impacts the learning or the access of the student to the chosen curriculum.
And for access, where would they apply at? Do you have somewhere on campus that they come in physically, or do you have somewhere online that they apply from, or is it a mix of both that you guys offer access for them?
They can do either or, because we also have students who are up in Greensboro and Burlington and Raleigh and you name it. So you can apply online at the Fayetteville Tech website simply by going to the Fayetteville Tech main website. In that little search block that's on the top, type in Disability Support Services, get to our page, scroll down, go to intake and complete the document, upload your supporting documentation, and then click submit. Please do not forget to click submit.
Yes.
Okay. This page also has a detailed listing as to what documents are accepted.
And if they were to need help filling out their application in any way, shape, or form, is there services offered to help them fill it out, like filling out the form if they don't understand full context of what it's asking of them or requesting?
Of course, that is in my office. We are located in 127 of the Tony Vance Student Center. You just give us a call. You can make an appointment. That is the safe way to do it. And then I sit down with you and I go over the document with you. We discuss your needs at that time as well, and then set your supports from there. If you don't make an appointment, you can also walk in. But if somebody already got that appointment slot, then you have to wait till that person is done. I calculate an average of 20 to 30 minutes per student.
And if a student were to, let's say, what happens with a student after they've already filed in and they send in their application? What are the further steps after continuing? Is it that they talk to you further, or they begin setting up other things so that the accommodations can be put into place?
Okay, let's say that they applied online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I need to know more than your documents, because your documents might say that you have ADHD. Well, ADHD is a big word. Doesn't sound like it, but it covers a lot.
It's a broad spectrum.
Exactly. So I sit down either on the phone or in person. Again, you have two choices. And we talk about things like, well, what happens in the classroom? You know, how is your focus? You know, can you pay attention long enough? Those kind of things. And then decide on, with the student, what would be the best way to move. Sometimes, especially our long-distance students, are online, and that affords different accommodation than a face-to-face person.
So it's more of that, although the documentation gives the basis for what you start with, it needs more of a in-depth explanation. So it's their further step would be to further explain why they need it or what they need specifically that could help them.
The what is the big thing.
Okay.
The what. I ask questions as to what happens if. You know, what happens if you're sitting for a 2-hour test? How you feel about that? How does that make you feel? And then take it from there. Or if you're sitting in a classroom for a 1-hour lecture, when do you stop taking notes? You know, and I'm just addressing ADHD at this point. And a lot of times the student will go ahead and go out of focus and then come back into focus. But during the time that they were out of focus, they're missing a piece. Well, if they're using a transcription app, that piece is picked up. It's that simple.
Yes. And once they set their accommodations with you, are they permanently there, like they can't be changed? Or can they be adjusted as needed? Like, let's say they get a bit better at focusing, or like they find it easier to focus now because they're having they've been in classes for a little longer now, they're more used to it, they can adjust themselves. Is there a way to adjust their accommodations, or is it set in stone once it's there?
Well, one thing the students will tell you is that as part of my interview, when they leave, I'm going, oh, by the way, if you figure out in 2 weeks that something is not like what you need, I expect you to come and see me. You know, we need to address that. Do you need extra resources? Do you need some changes in accommodations? What do you need? But if you're waiting till midterm or finals to figure out something is wrong, you're kind of late. So I encourage students to self-monitor how things are working for them, and then to let me know what's working and what is not. Students renew their accommodation every semester at the end of the semester. They get an email from me that asks them to please don't forget to renew your accommodations. That's a very good point where you might want to check with me. Because the other thing is you might change classes. You might go from a face-to-face to an online, or from an online to a face-to-face. Remember in the beginning I said almost program specific?
Yes.
We are trying to tailor it. It's not like you buy one blanket and hope it holds for the entire season.
Yes.
Because that doesn't work.
Might need to interchange it out so that it better fits what you're going in for.
Mm-hmm.
And once these accommodations are set up with you, how are they set into place, and who decides when they're set into place? Is that something you do on your end, or is that something the school also now comes in to help for the student?
Actually, it's a two-party thing.
Okay.
The student, once the accommodations are set, they're typed up, they're drawn up, then they go out to the student. If the student does not sign them, I cannot do anything. But if the student signs them, then they come back to my desktop. I sign off on it, and I send them out to the instructor, to the classes that the student is currently enrolled. So you see how program specific it is. We're only
Yes.
addressing what you're enrolled in at that time. Okay?
Okay.
And that's how it works.
Okay. And then shifting a little bit over from the disability services, let's talk about the YES initiative. So who would you say is eligible for an initiative like that?
Well, basically any student at Fayetteville Tech and Community College, And the YES program, by the way, stands for you plus effort equals success. That means you got to put yourself in it, you got to put your energy in it, and then the YES program helps you with sorting it all out. But the questions that the YES program likes to ask is, are you a student at FTCC? Would you like to have the opportunity to receive additional student support services to help you in your courses and personal life development? And I'm going to explain that a little bit further. Would receiving these supportive services at little to no cost be exciting to you? And would you like to belong to a campus organization community where there is hope, unity, and belonging? The YES program is a very good support unit, like so many others that we have at Fayetteville Tech. At Fayetteville Tech, you're not just a student, now learn how to swim. But at Fayetteville Tech, you are the student who has these different support services that help you through the programs. We have a learning center, we have the YES program, we have the wellness, which we will be touching on later, of course, disability support. But all of these programs, including the YES program, are aimed at helping the student reach their goal. Within the YES program, they have leadership classes, they have various classes to help a student figure out where they are within their own personal growth and how to further that personal growth, how to identify potential colleges in the future. It's just a whole bunch of different things that the YES program does.
It has a lot of outreach to help the student better accommodate themselves, get more acquainted with things, and just be able to be more successful, as it says, to get that success. But you also need to put in the effort and focus with your own capability. You can't just come into it expecting for success.
Exactly. We cannot spoon feed. Sorry about that. But the person who heads up the YES program, Mr. Richard McDonald, is excellent at working with the students and helping them through whatever obstacles they might have.
And what is the FTCC buddy system?
The FTCC buddy system allows the student to be matched with a Fayetteville Tech staff who then pays extra attention and guides them through the programs.
So as it states, kind of giving them a more in-depth help with someone like a tutor, kind of, in a sense, where they are introduced to this person and they will help them further than normal, just for them to better help and get more acquainted with things and have better, as the end goal for the YES program is success.
Exactly. A tutor is located in the Student Resource Center at the library. But if you have a buddy, for instance, and you're talking with your buddy and you're saying, well, I just can't cut math, you know, the buddy will go ahead and say, well, have you been over to the center? You know, is that working for you? We got these kind of things. And help them with additional resources. Or go with them to a ball game. You know, just being a buddy.
Yep, getting them to feel more comfortable instead of it just feeling like, oh, you're a staff on campus, that's all it is. But allowing them for that feeling to have more of a...
Familiarizing them with the staffing and the faculty, and
yep.
It's a closer relationship.
It allows for more ease of like being able to communicate with them, or because if a student is struggling and they feel uncomfortable to ask someone because they only know them as the teacher, or they don't want to ask them, with the buddy system they would feel more comfortable with that person to be, hey, I'm studying for this huge biology exam. I've been studying, but I don't feel it's working. I think I'm struggling and I don't know where to look. Now they feel more comfortable to outreach and talk, besides of just staying quiet about it and then possibly not doing well now because they were afraid to reach out in the first place.
That is correct, because we as humans have a tendency to always go for what we are familiar with. And if that person is familiar with you and you're familiar with them, it makes talking so much easier.
The unknown can be quite scary sometimes to people, especially if thrown into new situations. So I think that's honestly a very good part of the YES initiative, to allow that for students to have a better time, to want to outreach, to want to communicate, to want to seek help instead of trying to do it all on their own. Correct. Because while being independent is good, sometimes you do need help, and all it takes is asking. So the buddy system really does help people feel comfortable to ask, hey, I need help.
It also helps with the transition from public school into secondary education, because that is a day and night change.
And you had mentioned the wellness center services earlier, so let's talk on that a little bit. What services are provided by the wellness care services and the recovery program as well with that?
Okay, the Wellness Center is staffed by our school counselor, Miss Shauna Bell. And if there's a student in crisis on campus, she's the person to go to. She's the one you see if you need to talk and it needs to be confidential and you need assistance in that area. But she also does so much more than that. She not only worries about your mental health, but she also teaches you skills that you need to have in order to manage your mental health. That's a good way to put it. Things like how to do yoga to relax, breathing exercises if your anxiety kicks in, or your asthma for that matter. So Ms. Shauna Bell is there for all of that. She does regular programming, and she also does a wellness walk in nice weather, not in the rain, in nice weather, so that you can go ahead and just go around campus, enjoy the nice weather, enjoy like-minded students, follow her guidance, and be better when you go to your class afterwards. It's kind of like taking a breather.
Like getting some fresh air to kind of recollect yourself. Maybe you just had a stressful exam or finals, it's the last week, you're just stressed out after everything's coming to an end. Just a nice walk just to clear your mind, refocus, and now I feel better. I can come back with more effort that I had before because I now feel revitalized. Even if it's just a brief walk around campus, it's that respite of being able to just breathe and have that, okay, everything's fine, time to just focus and get back to things like I should.
Vitamin D does wonders for you.
It does.
Now, collegiate recovery, you touched on that,
Yes.
deals with works with persons or students who are recovering from potential addiction. That does not necessarily mean drug or alcohol addictions. There are different types of addictions. One of the biggest ones these days is the cell phone, for that matter. You need to know how to cut yourself loose from the cell phone to be studying.
Yep.
Eating disorders, anything like that is covered in collegiate recovery. They're doing paint workshop to focus in on things to resolve some issues. Again, they teach what to do if something tries to take over. Just different skills that you need to be successful, not only at Fayetteville Tech, but also when you leave us. Because what we do is we teach you what you need to know here, but we also teach you what you might need to know when you leave us. Because the students are gonna go ahead and leave us. We can't make them stay. I wish sometimes we could.
We can't stay within the college forever. We do have to eventually leave. Sadly, it happens. We have to
Yes.
graduate at one point or another, but it offers so much to allow them to kind of figure out a way to cope with certain things. Like screen time is big now, especially with cell phones, how much they have evolved over time, and social media, things like streaming services for media entertainment have become so big now that it's very much an addiction for most, if not a lot. Especially with younger generations, they become more and more in tune with technology. It becomes more and more evident that attention spans are drawn to that and could possibly take away from what's important, like education. So having them find ways to turn off the screen, look at what's around them, take it in, and not be attached to the phone or attached to what they're doing, where they can kind of just separate it at times so doesn't take over.
Another very important piece is to know that social media is not your mental health counselor.
Yes.
What you see on social media is not necessarily reality. And being able to evaluate that is very important.
Being able to distinct that it's social media. It's not meant to be a therapist for you. It's there for entertainment.
Correct.
And one last thing I want to ask you is, who would you say is eligible to participate in these services for the wellness in Colgate?
Pretty much any active student at Fayetteville Tech.
As long as you're
a student at Fayetteville Tech and you need any of these services, or you think you might need the services, come and see us. You can reach me at the Tony Van Student Center, room 127. The number is 910-678-8479. Miss Shauna Bell is over in the library on the first floor. And I'm going to give you her number real quick, and that's 910-678-8349. And you can also reach Collegiate Recovery through that. And then, of course, Mr. Richard McDonald can be reached also in the Student Center at 910-486-3940.
Thank you so much for coming in and being able to inform students about this. But we will be taking a short break. We want to remind students that summer classes start May 26th, and it isn't too late to get registered for your summer classes. Thank you for listening to the Trojan Hour on WIDU 1600 AM, 99.7 FM.
Hello, this is Sigma Smith along with Apostle Kenneth and Pastor Fody Smith of Evangel Temple Christian Center at 2633 Wilmington Highway. We're listening to Wake Up.
Governor Josh Stein joined the North Carolina Forest Service in Buncombe County to tour a wildfire mitigation project aimed at reducing wildfire risk tied to massive debris fields left behind by Helene. It's primary day in several states, including Kentucky, where Congressman Thomas Massie, a Trump critic, is fighting for his political life. Authorities are investigating Monday's deadly shooting at an Islamic center in San Diego as a hate crime. Emergency room visits in the U.S. for tick bites are at their highest level in nearly a decade. As more people head to the lake for the holiday weekend, some boaters are concerned about the low water levels could create dangerous conditions at lakes across the state. In March, an Iranian drone hit a U.S. military post in Kuwait, killing 6 members and wounding more than 20 others. Now there is an investigation. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. A quick note from the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. Corey Oxidine of Hope Mills is no longer wanted for questioning in reference to the homicide of Sharique Taylor that occurred September 20th, 2024. Cumberland County says Memorial Day is a time to pause, reflect, and honor the brave men and women who gave their lives in service to our country. Their sacrifice and dedication will never be forgotten. In observance of Memorial Day, Cumberland County government offices will be closed Monday, May 25th. County offices will resume normal operation the next day on May 26th. Cumberland County says the Innovation and Technology Services Department will upgrade EnerGov on Wednesday, May 20th. During that upgrade, EnerGov and Citizen Self-Service Portal will be unavailable for several hours. If you have questions or you want more information about that, contact Planning and Inspections at 910-678-7600. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
The summer heat is back. Tonight's forecast, clear and warm. Low temperatures only dip into the mid to upper 60s, which is also a sign that the humidity is going up just a little bit. Tuesday, mostly sunny and hot. Highs climb into the low to mid 90s. Wednesday, near record heat, mid 90s for highs with lots of sunshine. Rain chances return later this week and put an end to the heat. I'm meteorologist Kat Campbell in the NCN Weather Center.
Wake up, catch the vision, join the team. This is Pastor Reginald Johnston of My Father's House Christian Church right here in Fayetteville. We want you to wake up and join the team. Behold, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It's good when we come together. We're one body, many parts. We desire that you wake up and join the team. It's good to be a part of Wake Up. Wake up, join the team. We will see you in Jesus' name. God bless you.
It's time again for your conference, CCFM Conference 2026, Wednesday, June 24th through Saturday, June 27th at the Florence Center, Florence, South Carolina. We will welcome Apostle Joshua Giles, Pastor T. Renee Glenn, Dr. Darius Daniels, Pastor John F. Hanna, Bishop Melvin Lambert, Bishop Bobby Hilton, and our psalmists, Pastor Smokey Norfolk, Pastor Wendy Wyatt, Pastor Naomi Rain, Pastor Lillian Lloyd. Yes, this is your conference, CCFM Conference 2026 at the Florence Center. Admission is free, but registration has major advantages. For more information, go to ccfmnation.org, ccfmnation.org. You don't want to miss the King's Summit CCFM Conference 2026, June 24th through the 27th. Come hungry for God's presence.
Hi, this is T.W. Campbell.
And I'm Patricia Campbell
of the Refuge Community Church, located at 2314 L.A. Downham Road here in the God bless city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. You can reach us at area code 910-483-6477. We're here to invite you to our early morning service each Sunday morning beginning at 8:30 in the morning. Our prayer is at 6 o'clock. Our intercessory prayer, Bible studies at 7 o'clock, which now is our Sunday school at night, and which we call the Word on Wednesday. Come and be a part of a growing community. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
My name is Dexter Russell Sr., pastor of the North Ramsey Street Church of God, and you're listening to Wake Up.
This is Bishop Johnny Ray Jr. of the Churches of Worship Worldwide, Apostle J.A. McDonough, 2118 Owen Drive. And we are proud to be a part of the Wake Up. Come and join the team.
Hello, welcome to Trojan Hour on WIDU, 1600 AM, 99.7 FM. I'm Jaheem Whitehead, and I'll be your host for this second half. I'm a game development student, and today I'm here with Mr. Robert Lynch. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you doing?
And Robert Lynch is an instructor for collision and refinishing. So what would this do for students?
So our program focuses on collision repair and refinishing, and we're training students to be able to have a good career path in a collision industry. So everything that we're going to be teaching within the entire program is all going to be hands-on. It's going to be everything you would need to work inside of a collision repair shop.
So is this associate's, a certificate?
Yeah, so we have multiple certificates. We have a diploma, and we also have an associate's. So different time frame career plans that you can do. Mm-hmm. The associates would be a 2-year program, just like everything else. And then the diploma would only be 1 year, and then certificates are multiple, depending if it is a basic one, it would be 1 semester. It could be 2 semesters, just depends on the certificate pathway.
Mm-hmm. And what would students be able to learn in this program?
You would learn everything from start to finish that you would need to do within a collision repair shop. So mm-hmm. as far as bringing a car in, washing it, cleaning the vehicle before it gets worked on, disassembling it, taking it apart, putting it back together once it's finished, writing estimates, making the actual repair on the vehicle, whether it be welding, refinishing, cosmetic repair, insurance work with writing estimates for vehicles that need to be processed that way.
Mm-hmm. And do you think this is a good job field to go into currently?
Yes, it's a very good job field. Collision repair shops across the country are in need of technicians. The technician age range is older in the collision repair mm-hmm. field. There's not very many young people getting into it, and older people are getting out of it. Mm. So there's a big gap where there's a very positions throughout the entire country that need to be filled.
Yeah. And is there a difference between collision repair and automotive mechanics?
Yeah, so our focus basically is the outside of the vehicle. Mm-hmm. We don't do anything mechanically, anything that involves oils, lubricants, grease, or anything like that, because all of those are going to cause issues with the chemicals and paint materials that we use in a body shop. So that's completely separate than auto service.
So it's cosmetic versus the internals of the car.
Essentially.
Okay. And what do you think is your favorite part of this degree plan?
My favorite part of the degree plan is the refinishing portion. That's the main areas that I teach in the program, is the non-structural damage and the refinishing. But the big payoff that I feel is when you take something that's been completely damaged, and then when you repair it, paint it, put it all back together, and it doesn't look like anything's ever happened.
Yeah. And how did you get yourself into this field?
I actually was a student at Fayetteville Tech back in 2008 when this was a diploma program. And I started, and once I started taking classes, I actually started working in a body shop as well at the same time. And it was just a snowball effect, and I've never looked back, and I have been doing it since then.
And what advice would you have for somebody trying to get into this trade?
If you like working with hands, if you like doing physical work, taking things apart, putting things back together, fixing things, if you're artistic, if you like, painting, dealing with colors and the effects of different colors, any of those things, if you're interested, it could be a very good field.
So if you like working with your hands, but also have like, how do we say this? Like a more, if you like working with your hands, but also have like an artsy side to you.
Right.
So is there a really big part on like color theory and something like that?
There is, because you have to match the existing color of the vehicle. So even though the vehicle might have a paint coat on it and you can get close to what the color is, you still might need to make adjustments to make it look like the color of the vehicle, not necessarily the paint code that came from when the vehicle was made.
And would students actually be able to get hands-on experience, like working with an actual car that's been in a collision?
Yes, so the students work on live projects. We bring in live work. We don't work on any vehicles older than 10 years. So the oldest vehicle that we would bring in for students to work on at this time is 2016.
All right.
We do strictly focus on collision repair, so we're not painting the entire vehicle. So the damage is filtered when vehicles come in for us to potentially work on. And we focus on that, and the students are doing all the work. So it'd be taking apart by them, organized all of the materials that comes off the vehicle, making the repairs, reassembly, washing it, getting it ready, giving it back to the customer.
And where would these vehicles come from?
The vehicles we get are a mixture of donated vehicles from the general public, from donation organizations that we work with. We also take in live work from the general public, staff and faculty. It's everything just depends on what the damage is that we would have to physically see before we agree to bring anything in.
And what would it be like getting to this field right after high school?
Getting into the field right after high school? It would be a kind of an entry position, helper position. If you go through the program out of high school and then you go into the field after a 2-year degree, you have a little bit better foundation than coming directly out of high school. And you would still potentially be a helper for a shorter period of time than just directly out of high school, because you would have the foundation.
Yes. And what type of students do you tend to have in your degree plan?
We get all types of students right out of high school. We get students that are retired out of the military. We get students that are wanting a career change. We have a very wide range of all types of students.
And is there any certifications that the students will be able to get out of this degree plan?
Yeah, so there's multiple industry certifications that the students would get. PPG paint certification. So if you were to go into a collision repair shop after the program and you have that certification, that is a leg up on somebody else that may be applying for the same position that doesn't have that credential. There are welding certifications for steel and aluminum that you can receive. that focus on automotive welding, not industrial welding, because again, it's focused on collision repair, so you'd be working on vehicles. And there's information certifications for researching information through different platforms like AllData or other scenarios.
And would they go about renewing these certifications through the school, or would they go through like an outside source?
So once you leave the school, the recertifications, if it's required, depending on the certification, would be done by yourself or whatever collision repair shop you would be at.
Oh, okay.
So all of the different certifications vary on the time frame when they would need to be done.
So are most of these 16 or 8-week courses?
All of our classes are 8-week courses.
Okay. So it's a way faster timeline.
It is faster, longer class periods during the day, so that way we have more hands-on time at one period of time. But it is still a 2-year program to finish the entire associates.
Okay. And would students be able to go straight into the work field after this?
Yep. After the 2-year program, you can go directly into the workforce. Many of our students who are looking for employment are working before they graduate in local shops. We work with pretty much all of the larger MSO, multiple shop organizations around town. We have students working at all of them, graduated and current. And at the end of the 2 years, we do a hiring event for students to help them get into the field. We call it draft days, and it's essentially based off of a sports draft. So all of the students would have a number on their back to identify who they are. They would be doing different tasks hands-on in our shop or in our lab, and we invite multiple different shops to come in and watch them while they're working.
So it's kind of like a job fair, but you're demonstrating what you can do right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a live display of the students actually working in whichever area that they would like to pursue a job in after college.
And what are some of the equipment and tools the students would be able to come in contact with?
So we have pretty much all of the equipment that you would see in a current collision repair shop. We have top of the line paint guns, frame machine equipment, car aligner frame machine, Spinisi frame machine, different paint application paint guns that we use. There is different calibration systems that we use for scanning the vehicle and recalibrating sensors that are on the vehicle after they've been into an accident.
Is there any safety restrictions that the students have to follow?
Yep. So whenever you're in the shop, you do have to have pants, closed-toed shoes, and we have a student uniform shirt that students will purchase from the bookstore when they start the program.
Okay. And would that be provided by the school, or will you have to purchase that separately?
It's purchased separately, but it is financial aidable. You can use it with financial aid because it is required for our program.
And you personally, what would you think would be the best part of getting into this industry currently?
I think the best part, kind of like I mentioned earlier, is if you really enjoy taking things apart, putting things back together. When you can take something that has been completely wrecked and you have to replace parts or fix things, and then when you put it all back together, get everything painted, and it looks like nothing has ever happened, then that's a big a payoff for me. That's what I really like to see. The whole idea of collision repair is to create an invisible repair. Yes. So it should look like nothing has ever been happened to the vehicle. It should be pre-accident condition, so it should look as it did right before the accident.
And would the students be able to work on things other than cars? So like motorcycles and things like that?
So we do allow students to work on personal items or personal cars, depending on what the situation is, depending on what it is. There are times when we will work on different things for other areas in the community. Recently we did a Jeep for the Airborne Museum downtown. That was obviously outside of our 10-year requirement for working on vehicles. But there's sometimes that we do a few other things.
Yeah. And would students be able to bring in stuff from like family and friends, or would that have to go through a specific process?
So depending on what it is, we would look at it, and we might be able to bring something in. If the student is wanting to work on something of their own, it should be something that would be registered to them, or something that they own. If it was a family member or something, then we would just bring it in as a normal customer vehicle, just so that way we have the documentation and everything of whose it is.
Okay. Is there a specific amount of like damage that the students work under? Is it like, does it have to be a certain amount of damage for you to be able to work on it?
So we want it to be collision focused. So if there is a damaged bumper, damaged fender, or something that was hit, or if something was scratched or anything like that, then we would be able to bring that in, and they would be able to work on that.
Is there a point where the car is too damaged for the students to be able to work on it?
Yeah, so we do teach structural repair, but if there is some vehicle damage that goes too far into the structure where it's going to be a little bit more invasive to the structure of the vehicle, we wouldn't do that with the students, just because of the length of the time that it would take to make that repair. So we try to stay away from major frame damage.
Okay. And can you go into a little bit more of what that would mean? Like, what would that entail mainly?
So if you had a vehicle that was damaged and, for example, a frame was bent, or all of the airbags were deployed, or something like that, and there was an immense amount of work just to make the repair, if you had to remove the engine, remove all the mechanical parts, and then remove the entire frame rail from the vehicle, from the front of the car, just that would be too invasive, too large of a repair, one for students, because again, our main focus is a good foundation, the good fundamentals of collision repair. A lot of those major structural repairs would be done by a senior technician in a collision shop anyway, not somebody that would be just coming out of a 2-year program.
And what would the students learn first getting into this program?
So the very first courses that you would take would be a non-structural damage, which would be basic dent damage, dent repair, plastic repair, along with a intro to transportation. So you would learn basic tools, basic car ID parts, names of parts on the vehicle, and how the collision repair would function.
And is there like a final for this degree plan?
So there's a final. The final course is similar to like a capstone course, where you do a little bit of everything from the entire 2 years, and then you have kind of a final project where you're either working on your own damaged vehicle or customer vehicle or something like that, where you're doing the entire repair.
Okay. And is there any point where the students will have to work together, like in a team?
Yes. So when the students do start the program, that starting class that a student would be with would be the same class that they are with throughout the entire 2 years.
Okay.
So they would go through the entire 2 years as a team. When we're in the classes, we would break students apart into 2, 3, depending on the size of the class, on one vehicle. So you would still be working as a team on a specific repair or a single vehicle.
And what do you think is the biggest part about being in the team in this type of environment?
Well, it's good to be in a team because in a collision repair shop, when you would leave the program, the entire shop needs to work together. Everybody needs to work together. A lot of things are team based. So one person would do a certain type of repair, and then somebody else would do the next portion, then somebody else would do the next step. So it's good to work together as a team.
So it's getting them ready for the actual workforce.
Yes.
And would a specific car be for the final? Would a specific car be would be given to each team?
So it would just be you talking about once it's finished?
Yeah.
the team would work on them together, and then when the repair would be done, it would go back to the owner of the repair.
Okay. So for students getting into this degree plan, what's like the processes going into everything? Like, is it step 1 to 5, or are you jumping around the place a lot?
To get into the program?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing a student would do, like any other program with Fayetteville Tech, is go to the either website or the student center and fill out the application to be a student. And you would choose your degree path, and once you choose the degree path for collision repair, then you would come and see us in our building, and we would give you a tour of the building and get you signed up for your intro classes.
What building is Collisions in?
So we're located off of campus. We're actually at 2821 Procurement Circle. We're off of Santa Fe Drive, so we're about 10 minutes from main campus. We're not too far. And then if anybody wants to come and have a tour or ask for more information, you can come and see us at the building. You can go to the website, to the Fayetteville Tech's website, and in the search bar you can search collision, and then the collision repair degree plan will be right there, and you'll be able to reach us from there as well.
Is there any specific time that would be best for that?
There's usually always somebody in the building, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So if you wanted to come by, then somebody can come by and we can, somebody would be able to give you some more information, or you can email or call through the website.
I'm speaking from personal experience, but is there any skills competitions for your degree plan?
Yeah,
or like Skills USA?
Yep, so we participate in Skills USA. We have been for about 11 years now. We do that every year. There is separate competitions for refinishing, for collision repair, and then for estimating. But we do participate every year, and if somebody from our school gets first place, then they would go to the Nationals competition.
Yes, which is being held in Atlanta.
Yep.
Speaking from personal experience, I think Skills USA is a great opportunity for any student, despite whatever degree plan you're in.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is great. It's great to experience Skills USA. It's a great networking environment for students to meet people in the specific industries.
Is there any specific requirements for Skills USA?
The only requirements would be to come to myself or another instructor, and if you show interest, to mention it. I do talk about it in classes to see if anybody is interested, and then we would go from there and start practicing for the competition.
Is this another team-based activity, like the actual classes?
Our Skills USA competitions are actually not team-based; it's individual-based. So we would, you would be working on your own. You wouldn't be working with a team.
Okay, so it's a little bit different than what you're doing in actual classes,
right?
Where you're not working as a team,
right?
Is there anything else you would like to add?
I mean, if anybody would want to come and get more information, like I said, you can come and see us at 2821 Procurement Circle. You can call us at 910-486-3990, and we'd be happy to give a tour to anybody that would be interested.
And for local employment for these students, would they be able to find, especially at the final thing you would be talking about, would there be local businesses, or would they come in from like out of state or something?
So we actually have both for the Draft Days hiring event. We have local shops, and then we have shops that come from out of state just to see the students because they want to hire our students. We have a shop out of Pittsburgh that has hired roughly about 7 to 9 students and moved them up there just to hire them from our program.
So would they be hired on the spot, or would they still have to go through the whole interviewing process?
They would still do the official application and official interview and official hiring process for that specific company.
And how would students go about getting into contact with these people? Are they all in separate sections, or would the employers just be able to walk up and see what they're doing?
For that hiring event, they would be able to just walk around and observe them. And then the second portion of that day would be interviews for whoever they wanted to interview from the hands-on portion.
All right. Before we go off air, I would like to notify students that summer classes start on May 26th, and there is still time to register for classes. So thank you for watching. This is Trojan Hour on WI.